Hello, this is Raven and Anna, and
Hello.
hello. Yes, and today we're actually going to do a little segment just following up on the ego center from last time because Anna's had an experience that we thought interesting to share, and then we'll move into the ajna. And the ego center is the center of the will power. It operates on a pulse. Unless one has that authority, it's not in charge, but it has the potential to push the energy in the case of, well, a generator in our cases. Um, and for those, and it operates on a pulse. It actually needs to rest. I mean, we have a whole lot of heart problems in the world because on either side, people,
Yeah,
we've got the thing to push forward rather than allowing the energy. So with that,
this is a perfect introduction, and you set me right on the track because I remember in the very beginning of my encounter with human design when I started getting into the subject of ego. There was a place where I read those examples, and they said that all this ego-driven people looks like appears in the world. Ego-driven people, very ambitious, who try to prove to the world that they can achieve, they can get. Those are open ego, most of them, who try to be the CEOs of the company. Maybe this is not the era now, but the previous era.
uh-huh.
The owners of the big businesses that they can do it, they can make that success. And most of them, there is a statistics like high level, responsible people who were very ambitious, they end up with the heart problems.
Hmm.
The open ego not used correctly, which is like it's not your ambition and it's not your job to prove that you can be the number one and that you can really take all that responsibility and that you can give all the promises. That
Yeah.
exactly, but that is exactly where the world hits you the
Uh,
hardest.
and and because it's magnifying, only 35% of humans have a defined ego center, at least I don't know if that's still the truth, the stats, but what we learned. And that, so those of us without that, so two-thirds are actually magnifying that energy. So like in us, it occurs, that's what happens. It's like, oh, I've got to prove. Um,
Exactly.
Bill Gates is the only one I'm familiar with as one of those people that are talked about with an undefined ego center.
And by the way, the real success for these people, if we would actually go into their design, it would not be all the ambitions that they're trying to demonstrate. So their design will show, that they are here to enjoy or to be some other things.
Hmm.
So, but the world has conditioned us, and it still continues to condition. If you look at any advertising, if you look at any success story, there is always, where is the will, there is a way, and stuff like
Right.
that. So we have just mentioned how dysfunctional can be open ego, and it's an endless talk, and exactly trying to prove that they are ego people. That's what open ego does.
Hmm.
But this is interesting that the one that is defined and if it's used incorrectly, can be as bad as the open one, and even worse. So
Hmm.
the organ damage. So mm, I do really feel that I have a defined ego connected to the spleen, and I do feel that I engaged in some activity. I can engage my ego. I can be pushy, first of all, to myself. I'm telling to myself that now there is determination. We have started, we have to finish. But I will actually notice how fast I get tired. And before I would drive myself because I have promised, and it is an ego function to, to deliver. But it is a projected channel. Most of the ego is never connected to the sacral, so it's always a projected channel. So there
Ex-
are a lot of
Except for the manifesting channel. There's one manifesting.
yeah, except for the
Yeah.
manifesting channel.
Sorry for
But
interrupting.
that's right. But the moment it is a projected channel, there are a lot of but.
Hmm.
How you apply the ego, and usually you cannot do it on your own because ego, it is a tribal thing, and usually you commit your will to something, doing with a group, something, achieving a result, but there are usually some kind of conditions. Either you're competing, but you're competing against somebody, or you are doing something together with a community, or as a salesperson, the ego channel, as a salesperson, the egoist, you should support the agreement, the contract. And if there is no, it's not always about the money, but
Hmm.
if I am using my ego, I can only apply it correctly without damage to my heart if the others are doing their part.
Mm. So may I ask you a question? Because we were talking about, your recognition that to move from the Ukraine to Italy, it took some willpower. You mentioned that, and that you had is that so so going with
Mhm.
what you said just now, which is interesting. Yes, only if there's, it's an exchange with with the EE 2644. So was what like if you
So
look
first of all, yes, I do have to have the energy in order to commit myself.
uh-huh.
So first, and we said this already, if I'm a generator, the primary thing is my response. It can
Hmm.
never be the ego first. I am almost not capable to engage or say yes or something or commit myself first if I don't have that energy. I
Hmm.
have done so in the past, most probably, and when I was younger, I can remember like doing stuff when I actually absolutely don't have energy to do it, but because I'm ego driven, it feels so exhausting,
Hmm.
basically. So I think for many years now I don't do it. So I have a response, I commit myself, but I cannot go really against the circumstances or people. So you can never fulfill the commitment if the circumstances, if there is no agreement, if something does not, there has to be a deal, some kind of deal, especially for me.
For you,
It,
yes.
yeah, like for example, it has to be economically, at least if there is no like deal with the people, but transferring myself somewhere is also my ego will say, your results, your end goal is going to be good because economically it will be good for you. Yeah, I can feel the value, so I will feel that value. But if I don't get the economical reward, if I don't get the better situation, my ego will not engage again. My ego very quickly, this is I think the difference between open and fixed.
Mm.
My ego will very quickly realize that the further application of the will is not necessary.
Uh-huh. Like wait, like I might even say or interpret it, again, it's energetic, but it's a waste of your energy.
Yes. So I think when something is undefined, I think people with open ego, they will go further. And I will, in terms of like sensing the value, I was like, I thought there is a value, or initial response that there is a value, but the moment I don't get the circumstances or I don't get the commitment of other people, I start feeling that my heart is being exhausted. I
Mm.
have the barometer for that.
Hmm.
So I start to feel that I am ready to commit and I'm ready to do this, but there is no other end. So I start
Hmm.
seeing that the other end doesn't meet me here.
Yes. Coming to me. That's good. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, and when I'm pushing, if I'm choosing to be pushy, if my ego starts to be pushy, that just accelerates the loss of energy. And that energy, I actually can get pain in the center of the back.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's not a sharp pain, but it's like a fatigue
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that I start to feel that I'm overusing my ego, that I am trying to. It's not something I can use constantly like sacral during the day.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why whenever I meet the ego person during the reading, I also ask them, and everybody confirmed that they always prefer to work shorter hours. Like we set the goals, we do a couple phone calls, we put the target, and then we take done, done, done.
Uh-huh.
And then like I want a free time. I don't want to sit in the office. Like this is the
Uh-huh.
hardest thing for me.
Uh-huh.
I don't wanna do the time. I wanna do the results. And
Uh-huh.
once the results
Mm.
are done, I should be able to be free.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think the ego people naturally they are ready to work for themselves, or they're like more often than not, because I can control my commitment and the freedom.
Yes. So, it's interesting because, I think I used to be that person that kept going. That was part of one of my lessons when I got Crohn's disease.
Mhm.
And I would, I mean, again, I'm sure it was the voice of the undefined ego, but I would stay at work as long as I could get away with it until my body was too embarrassing because I needed to use the bathroom in active Crohn's disease. I needed to use the bathroom and urgently. And I just remember, and I wrote about this in I think probably both my books, but I just remember going, please don't make me tell them I need to take a disability leave. I mean, that's kind of how so that was, that was even before human design. So I would say, I think I said this in our last conversation, it can still like get me to, kind of whatever, some combination, like you got to go do this thing, but I can really feel really quickly when it's off for me. So I'm kind of more on the other side now. It's like, I mean, even us coming to here for 10:30 agreement, my time, I was like, I mean, I move slowly. And I can go on for a long time for some things, but anyway, it's interesting. And I'm going to share something that I was told about having an undefined ego, but having the personality sun in the 51st gate. But the big picture is the person who, so they teach it ISDS, but they told me that the incarnation cross supersedes definition or not definition. Like I'm not a clarion sometimes and sometimes not. So that was it's a different perspective that there are certain couple things that was one of them that sort of supersede the rules. But I still feel that 51st gate and the 20 and the 26. Oh my God. Um, it they're both uncomfortable. Um, yeah, they're both kind of a little uncomfortable, but being able to work for myself, being able to set my own schedule. Yes, please. I will not go back to a place where I can't do that. I can't go to a job.
But that's also, I think, a part of individual.
Yeah,
Individual is much less ready to give up the freedom to the
yeah,
collective or to the tribal.
yeah.
So
Especially it's self-empowered when it's, that the integration as well. Yeah. So is there anything more you want to say about this? I mean, I know when you experience some tiredness after your move, but
yeah,
I don't know if there's anything else to say or if you want to go to the ajna.
yeah. I definitely, I definitely get in. Like for example, if I have a period of 2 weeks when my ego is actively engaged, for example, I
Mm.
have to do the move.
Mm-hmm.
When I have to do the move, I have to do it. I'm a bit robotic because my ego will drive me. So my ego will tell me early in the morning, we have to do it and we have to do it today because tomorrow it's raining or whatever. So I will be regardless, a bit regardless the energy that I actually have, my ego will drive me through the move and I will maybe submit on time, like when I should move and stuff.
Hmm.
But I prepare myself after this kind of projects that I will have a withdrawal for like 2 weeks. So if
Uh-huh.
I overuse my ego, I will um, definitely there is a generator burnout including,
Yes,
but
thank you.
my ego will definitely demand. My muscles will be tired. There is
Mm,
no will. So I come to the point when there is no will anymore. So I know that for next 2 weeks, I will just follow with whatever. And if my ego steps in and during that rest period, well, no, we have to like inside of me, there will be something like, we have just done the marathon. So
right.
I tap
Yeah.
myself on the shoulder. We are good, we have good results. And now we can stay without you, without
Uh-huh.
will. We're going to take care of, I know what I have to do. So responsibility of the ego is like, I always know what I have to do. And I can promise myself so I will say, I promise you, I'm gonna take care of it.
Mm,
I promise
okay.
myself that I'm gonna take care of that as soon as I recover. But I
Uh-huh.
need, whenever I overuse the ego, I know I will have to take rest until I recover myself. And they will be like, I even will withdraw from some previous agreements when I just feel that there is more value in resting. So I will excuse myself. This is not something I naturally had before.
Mm,
I
gotcha.
would be, yeah, I would be a yes person and I would engage my ego much more than I do now.
Hmm.
It's harder to get my yes now in terms of promise. I
Gotcha. Like,
think,
yeah, you have to be called out. It has to be the right yes. It has to be, uh-huh.
yeah,
In what, however it comes out of you. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Funny because I'm just thinking, I just moved. Um, moving energizes me. I mean, the prep is hard. The mind is like, we're going to get to the ajna because I definitely think my mind, is organized. So it gets very busy. My mind gets busy. Um, the ego, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm just kind of saying this in response to what you said that I don't
Mhm.
think, I think that's what gets tired, not my heart. Um, that's kind of funny.
I think that's what you don't feel because I think your heart definitely gets tired, but it doesn't give you such a clear indication.
It doesn't give me what?
It
Clear
doesn't give you
indication. I
the
see. Uh-huh.
indication of that you are
Yeah.
tired. I am sure your heart gets, and this is why I think that's why there is this heart failure thing because they don't
Hmm.
feel it. They
Yeah.
could feel it over
Interesting.
the years.
Yeah. I mean, I've said I mean, last we talked, I could feel it. I felt it a little bit here, but not as much as where I was living before. There's something, I mean, I am in the atmosphere of no ego anymore.
I would absolutely love to talk to some cardiologist who is using
Mm.
human design because I think they
Hmm.
using the history and experiment they can actually tell us real stories. I just have a glimpse of that and reading somewhere, but there is a way of not using correctly your heart when it's open, and there is a way of overusing it
Hmm.
when it's
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
So.
But I also like, yeah, I mean, in this move, I paced myself because I have a cat. So I didn't, took 2 days to get where I am now, but I didn't take it. I took a week to get where I am. So I actually set up the pace so
Oh
that I
yeah.
was in
This
3 days,
time
3 nights in one place. So there was get there, get stuff in, rest, move again, 4 nights. So I can't tell you if that was,
mhm.
it was intelligence, but it was recognizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I do now. Definitely there is less energy as you get older. And if before I could push my ego through and I could do things on very minimum energy, Like
Hmm.
now when I have to move or something, I'm like, I'm making the deals with myself. Like,
Mm.
let's put the effort, then we'll have a day off, and then we'll continue the efforts, and then we see how we feel energetically. So
Uh-huh. Hmm.
I am not, before my ego, when I was at school, because I literally remember my ego driving me very ambitiously to get my mark. And I was the person who
Mm.
enslaved me.
That's so
With,
interesting. Yeah, because my parents pushed me and
mm, nobody
um
could push me.
and I was a
Nobody could.
total fail. I was a fail. I mean, my grades in both sophomore year in high school and college just went blah. So I don't know. It's just I don't know. I just had a moment of curiosity. I have no answers for that, but just
Mm.
remembering, I would the push was always for me to get into to get good grades to get into college. That was that.
Nobody had to push me. It was my,
Okay,
and I
that's so
wasn't,
interesting, isn't
yeah,
it?
and I
I don't
wasn't,
know.
yeah, and I was enslaving myself. And when I actually got to university, I had 6 months of depression
Mm,
because I have enslaved myself, my ego enslaved me, and I was overriding my energy, and the result was not satisfactory. So when I actually got to that university, it didn't give me energy. It was the wrong place. It was
uh,
ambition driven. It was
mm,
a target. It was a goal. So even I was driving me,
yeah, that's
and
interesting. Yeah.
I withdrew. It was the third year when I withdrew because my
Mm,
ego absolutely gave me no more willpower to do this.
hmm.
So
That's interesting.
whatever pushing, it's
Uh-huh.
wrong.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever is pushing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's wrong. So when I apply my ego correctly, it's not pushing, it's a commitment, it's a correct commitment, and
Hmm.
I enjoy doing things together, and then it falls together. I don't feel I'm pushing.
Mm.
But just to tell you this, so with I'm open emotional, and I in aura I learned to I feel the emotional people, yeah, so I can feel that sometimes, yeah. And open ego and fixed ego, I also feel that. So sometimes when I meet somebody new, I can feel, oh, there is a push. Either they tell me what to do, or they try to drive me with their ambition, or they try to compete with me. I literally get this push on this level. Like
Uh,
sometimes I say something which was maybe ego driven, and their ego immediately gets into like, they will get back to me in the same way. And I'm like, oh, so you can do the same. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. You're an ego person.
yeah.
I feel the difference in the
Mm,
way.
mm,
I do feel the ego push. And
mhm,
I immediately get the message that if I'm gonna push, they're gonna push back. So.
mhm. Well, I think I shared that I had the experience of, being approached people in when I was in this pretty about 3.5 years in the experiment in a couple places when I lived in Sedona, and I felt ego, like I felt something coming to like, and my reaction, it was a reaction, was to
Mhm.
push back. So
Hmm.
I think, yeah, so it's interesting, the subtleties, I'll say. And I'm going to add I don't know if do I want to do this? Nah, I was going to add a keynote in my design, but it's in the the tonal cognition, because there is an ambitious piece in me. This thing is looking for rising up, even though, anyway, maybe
Hmm.
we can do that a different day on if we want to talk about tonal determination and whatnot. But yeah. Um,
For me, the last part, I would just say that sometimes it is healthy to be ambitious when you need to get certain results, and in certain
Actually,
time. And
yeah. And to what you said earlier, the channels that I'm visualizing, they're both projected channels, so they do need to be invited.
yeah,
Yeah.
but more than not, ego, ego just when it's natural, ego doesn't feel pushy. It doesn't feel aggressive. It
Hmm.
very, very natural. So the moment just I start, even me, I start feeling that pushiness, I'm like,
Yep. Yep.
that's not the way it's supposed to be. And I observe it, and I just I try not to encourage that in me because also I know it will cost me dearly being over pushy with, especially with other people. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's maybe all on
Okay.
ego. Hmm.
Okay. You
And
ready for
we're
another one?
talking about the
The
ajna.
Yes, it is hard to talk. It's a little hard to talk about the ajna without the head because they do work together. One receives or whatever the ajna processes what comes in, um, and it's together they make up what we would call the mind. They have a purpose, which
Hmm.
is in both case, is to what's inspiring, figuring out the past, worrying about resolving doubts about the future, and then there's the mystery in the middle. But that's the head, that's the ajna to the head. Um, the main thing is there it's really just where it's just where we have ideas. There's no manifestation. The ajna is not connected to a motor ever. And its best thing is to really to consider, to conceptualize, and to share what one comes up with when asked. And with the defined ajna, let's just say that, there's about, I'm going this way. The undefined ajna, it's like there's a pressure to be certain that you know what you're talking about when you're really designed to be very flexible in your
Hmm.
thinking. And I think it could be interpreted that then somebody with a defined ajna is certain, and that's not the case either. It's just they have a consistent way of processing information and what is offered. I mean, I really got this. I appreciate having had multiple teachers, but it's because each one brings me something a little different. But what it's for in my case, it's like, well, and I have the fourth gate, right? So fourth gate is logical, and then the 1762 is logical organization, the patterns, and it's really only an offer. Well, I figured this out. Maybe it'll work for you. Like it's never to be, I figured this out and this is the truth. And even with the 17th gate, which is the gate of opinions, it's just an opinion, and it's
Exactly. This is how I explain this because thank God, when I do the readings, most of the people I get, they're open mind, open ajna.
Mm,
Thank God, because whenever there is a fixedness, I just don't know if I will have enough arguments, if I will appear to be certain, if I will get all the facts in the right time to deal with that mind. Because anyway, when we communicate, we deal with the mind of another
mm-hmm,
person.
mm,
But thank God the open mind people come to me more. And this is how I tell them because we feel very much like we, the open mind, and those with the fixed mind who have detailed opinions, they have thought, they have arguments, you
structure,
yes, you
all
do
that.
feel very different. So I always tell my people, open mind people, I always tell them it's just an opinion. It doesn't mean they're gonna do
Mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean they're gonna be like this. They're gonna tell you this, but look at the actions. And when you look at the actions, they will do something in response as well, or they will do something based on the invitation, but they will keep telling you the details, the opinions, the views. It still doesn't mean that much. You know,
Well,
you can
yeah,
be. Mhm.
yeah. So it's interesting because I do have an undefined head. And I think you're describing a similar phenomenon, but different. One of the ways I get in trouble, I mean, I have the 61st gate up there, design sun. So the mysteries, body's very interested in the mysteries, but I have really come to understand that I am really easily swayed by what other people are doing. Like it has been difficult for me to even stay with, well, what am I up to? Because it's like, well, that looks good. That looks, so I don't,
I'm
it's
not even
interesting
trying. And I'm not even trying. If you were telling me you're easy to be persuaded, I can tell you I'm not even trying to show that I am hard to be
that you
persuaded.
hard to what?
To be persuaded. It's so
Oh,
easy. It's so
mm,
easy for me to absolutely like
yeah.
you realize that, and I
Uh-huh.
just know there is no way I can even pretend that I am fixed. You know.
Yeah. But you've got, I mean, openness is flexible, but you told me, and this is interesting because our inadequacies come from different places, is that you have that sense of, I don't want to say it, you can say it.
When I heard this word first, inadequacy, mental, and like feeling mentally inadequate, not having the words coming
Hmm.
out, not having the concept appear, not pulling, not getting the meaning of what the other person means,
Mm.
not being able to pull the facts out. The open ajna very often feels this is the people who think after. So after there was a conversation and they come up with all these facts and I could say this and this and this and this, why I couldn't say that all in the moment. So that's why you feel inadequate because conversations and communications, they do happen verbally, and verbal cannot happen with the mental process. You have to verbalize the thoughts, you have to hear, you have to take the other thoughts and you have to do some correlation and then lay out your thoughts, and sometimes nothing much happens.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I am very lucky, and when I do the readings and when I ask people with different design of the head and ajna on how their mental process happens, I am very lucky because I do have three gates in the open.
Hmm. Right.
Yes, and that's why I am smart. Let's put it that way. I don't think I'm really smart, but I am able to process information
Hmm.
maybe a little faster sometimes. And that is my sun earth is in my head.
Your
My
what? Your
my sun
Oh, okay. Yes, it is. Right, right.
is
63,
in my head.
64, yeah. So for similar, right? Open but yet.
Yeah, but I do have some predetermination to be able to use that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I cannot guarantee how or when, but it's usable. But the people who have the thing very, very open, so we cannot give the timing of when the conceptualization will happen, when they will understand the opinion or the position, the mental position or the mental opinion of the other person so that they can actually find their own way to express their own position about
Hmm.
that, which
Yes.
is
But
necessary in almost every field. Yeah, when you go to get a job, when you need to look professional, in the world. This was my biggest fear and something that I really, really learned. So I am the teacher. I am actually delivering information. I need to speak, right? And then with the open ajna, there is this thing that you are not certain. So how professional do you appear when you tell people you don't know?
yeah, well, isn't that that's one of the fears is like it's like we don't have even that no matter what defined or not defined, the permission to say, I don't know. It's
I
two,
don't know.
yeah, two things are coming to me. May I share them or do you want to do you have a little more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm
Please
thinking
share.
of, let's see, what is it? I remember one of them. Okay, I'll do the one I remember right now. I was in a relationship with somebody that had no definition above the throat, and that guy spewed facts like he knew every fucking thing on the planet. It was so interesting. So, and the experience that I had on the receiving end, like I put things out like a curiosity.
Hmm.
And I what I would get back is facts. Like there was actually even, it's designed to be flexible, right? And whatnot. Um, but it had collected, I mean, it could absorb facts that I would never absorb because of the fixedness, which is kind of interesting.
Oh
But
yeah.
but it actually I my experience is it closed down the conversation because instead of interacting with contemplating something. It was like, here's what I know. So it was an interesting, and then this is the other thing, is I'm just wondering if because of having the defined ego, and you said you feel inadequate up there, if there's a weird correlation between I need to prove myself, because I heard, because I don't have defined, I'm just curious if there's a
I
somehow.
think if I was open ego, that would be very difficult for me because I would feel worthless, yeah, when
Mm,
I feel inadequate. But there is this fixed ego that is backing me up. So no matter whatever happens here, my ego is like, you're just fine. You're
okay,
just
okay, cool. So it's just that.
that ego is one form of the protection, just like
Mhm.
solar plexus protects you, it's like
Right.
a shield. So ego does protect me from opinions of others. So even if I have a literally mental fuck up, when I say the wrong thing, I didn't find the word when I had to find it, when I was explaining something, when I had that kind of fuck up, it's easier, I think, for me to say, oh, it just went out of my head.
Uh-huh.
I will feel inadequate, but I will not be destroyed that much. At least my ego will be just like,
Yeah.
you're okay, you're just like that, you're just fine. Ego will do the job.
Uh-huh. Right. Okay. And oh God, it went away again. So having my moments. It was there. It was good too. Too bad though.
I will tell you how I often feel, also why inadequate. So, my previous partner had fixed head and fixed
Mm.
ajna.
Hmm.
So he would bombard me when, for example, we're about to make a big decision, yeah? So we're looking at things. Maybe we should move somewhere, or I don't know,
Hmm.
ever. So he's gonna bombard me with the facts and arguments. And I literally have nothing to say because I don't have facts and arguments. My
Mm.
mind doesn't have it.
Uh-huh.
I can feel whatever the value, the response, but they are like he's so smart. I can feel his mind is so smart. I have no mental weapon to compete, to change his mind. This is very clearly what I say. I cannot change the mind of that person. That's why I do that pre-reading of the before to do the session of human
Uh-huh.
design. I always do those 20 minutes, whatever
Right.
happened to that person, because I know my capability and I know I have an open mind. So I don't. If that person is already fixed and he wants to stay fixed and his mind is fixed in a certain way and that's what he's gonna show me, I
Right.
have no way to change your mind.
Right. Right.
This is what I feel very much as an open mind. I feel when I embrace it, because this is
Hmm.
what human design has done to me. When I have embraced it and I let go of the fear, like I simply said, it's okay to be not inadequate. It's okay. I accept it. I literally accept it. This being armless, like having no weapon, like being so vulnerable, it became my power because I don't compete with them.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
literally let them know if this is the way you're fixed, And if you think like this, then you're just right. Go do your thing. But
Mhm.
if
Did
you
you
wait,
find that more with, I'm just wondering if that was a more of a phenomenon with the 4323, which is very individual. I'm just curious and has its own
I
way of
think
processing.
43, 23, I put my arms down just because they don't hear.
Hmm.
I immediately can sense it that they want to tell their story and I'm here to listen to it. But I met others with the fixed head, and if they are jumping on that horse, uh, pushing and shoving all the arguments and facts on me, I'm not good. I'm just not engaging in the
Hmm.
game.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes
I'm like,
sense.
okay, you're so smart, so lovely to hear you. I hear your ideas. You haven't invited me.
Mm.
Like, do you want to have a conversation with me? Or like, do you want to ask me what I think and see my opinion, or because there is no way I can override that.
Hmm. Right, right. And
They are
that's not
smart,
your
and
job.
the logic, they have whatever that is abstract or whatever, but they are smarter
Mm.
than me. I do their mind in terms of we are talking about the mind and how they process the information. If we're gonna have some kind of mental competition, mental arithmetics, remembering the facts, they will do it better most of the time. But I am just saying, I'm not playing the game. I'm not here to
Hmm.
play the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm remembering, I'm thinking about, I mean, this may be completely actually unrelated, but I have a friend with a 60, I have a few friends with a 6447, the channel of clarity. Confusion is the word I like because there is confusion. And yeah, it took me a long time to realize that I really can't, like what I have to offer is not, she's not open to it. And that just could be her. It could have nothing to do with that, what's fixed in her. So, but I think I might say I relate to that experience of what you're saying. If somebody's not open, I run into people not open, defined and undefined. So, there's that as well, in terms of really being able to take this information and not, and to use it. Because a lot of people want, it's being used as, get your great life rather than get your life, which is a different story. And I did remember the other thing. I finally wrote it down so that I wouldn't have to. I remember in Jedi training, I guess, or whatever, in engagement with John Martin, and he often would said, what do you have to say before mind? So even with an open head ajna, defined or not defined, it's like what comes up to be expressed. And I remember I guess starting to become aware of when it was just coming out and then I would hit a skid. And that's when I knew I had shifted to the mind. And it'd be like, oh, I guess that's all I have to say. So you have, what do you have ever, what do you, what are your,
I
what's your
want to
response to that?
I want
Evelyn?
to ask you a question.
Hmm.
So you're a generator,
Yep.
yeah, and you definitely you leave the experiment, so you know how your body responds. But you do have the fixed ajna, and there is a certain fixed process that happens there. So how do you describe it? Like, so you have a response.
Hmm.
And do they have a debate? Like your Arjuna is wondering, like your Arjuna can give the feedback on the response saying this is stupid or I need more details or like, because it happens sometimes simultaneously, I guess. I wonder what is that inner chat that is happening? How do you observe your Ajna when you do also have a response?
Well, it is split off, so we start with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so there's nothing that goes directly to it. So sometimes I experience it as a gap. One of the things is, that is said, and it's true, is the organization is not for me, it's for others.
Mm-hmm.
So what I can tell you, but what was interesting to me, and then I heard one other thing that really also rings true is so. I can't figure out what I'm doing. Let's just put it that way. But once I've responded to something, I this definitely gets involved in figuring it out. It starts to organize and it gets really overwhelming sometimes. Like what I was saying
Oh,
in moving, in moving, let's say, it's very good at organizing my stuff and knowing the timing. And I also, when I drive, I am
mm-hmm.
abs and it sees patterns. Like it kind of knows at this point I've observed, it knows what a driver is going to do before they do it.
Wow.
Like it's just a split second, but I can read
Mm.
directions. So I suspect, I imagine it's it's pulling in the
Vision.
patterns.
It's an ability to see. You see that ajna, it's a third eye, it's an ability to
Hmm.
see.
Hmm.
Obviously, ability to see, we don't know how limited or everybody has their own way to see, but it is an ability to see that
Yeah.
I'm missing that.
Yeah.
I can tell you. So when I have a response, there is no other way for me. I just start doing it. And because I'm
Hmm.
doing it like a blind, literally, and
Hmm.
this is inadequacy as well. Only when I start doing it, the details will come out. They will come out a little bit later. So because you're doing it, you're like, why didn't I think? Why didn't I prepare before? Like, are you an idiot? I would hear this. Like, are you an idiot if you would imagine the process and the steps one, two, three?
Hmm.
You would actually see that before to do the three, we would have to organize, blah, blah, blah. Thank God, thank God, the way the things actually turn out, I
Uh-huh.
looked at it, I do have the mind that can look at things,
Hmm.
especially in perspective.
Uh-huh.
So thank God it turns out always wonderful
Hmm.
and most of the time. And it's
Yes.
better I didn't know. It's better
Yeah.
I didn't. If I would see, I would never start doing it. If I
Mm.
would see all the steps I would have to
Mm.
take, I would never engage. So because I am so foolish here, I don't get the warning. I don't see the process. I don't see the steps. I get engaged, and as I am doing it energetically,
Uh-huh.
somehow it falls together.
Yes.
But
That happens to me too, by the way. I mean, I can just go back to this move or even a road trip earlier this year. More and more, my sacral is being used. Like even in terms of what to put in the car. I not this last move, but from Oregon when I got rid of everything, or no, when I left. Can't Verde. Anyway, it's like, hi, I'm putting a bucket of I'm putting this bucket in my car. I don't know why. So there is still it's kind of both, I think. Which
so
is
lovely.
to me is the funnest thing. It's the most fun. I mean, or when I was leaving Portland and I just finally made the decision that I was going to get rid of all my furniture, but I started the process of downsizing my stuff, like I think in January, and my body just started doing it. Like I would just look at something on the wall and go, nope. Like, in kind of like little piles. So it kind of works in me both ways, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
sometimes it's just response and sometimes it's figuring it out or it's organizing. I mean, I know how to pack my car. I know where I have this way that I pack my car that it's like, yep, that goes here, that goes there, the cat goes there. I've done it a few times, so I have the pattern.
This is so interesting because my example is also about the car. I think because we have both
Mm,
been recently. So no matter what I figured out with my head, what I take on a trip or what I carry, like my body, what I saw this summer, my body didn't want to carry the stuff.
right, right.
So I had an idea. I had a fixed
Hmm.
idea because I had to fix
Okay.
that. I'm gonna carry this, this, and this. And then as I started to physically load the car, my body just gave me all the signs that I'm not taking all this stuff, and I had no idea why. So the hardest part for me, I think maybe
Um,
also for you, the hardest part some time ago in my experiment was not to ask the question why. So if
Uh-huh.
my body doesn't, I'm like, okay, this is my truth. I don't
Yes.
know why. I yet don't know why. And only when I reach the destination and whatever unfolded there, I'm becoming aware
Mm-hmm.
because I'm already observing what happened. I'm becoming mentally aware of why all these things were not needed.
Uh-huh. Yes, exactly. And it's really fun. So I have a weird question because I'm just observing heads. Like I know my forehead, it's like it's the thinking, I have the thinking crease. And I don't think
Okay.
you have one. Is that true? Do you have a thinking crease? Like where it's kind of, it's too
No.
far. Yeah, so I think that's another possible sign. And it doesn't mean that this is, like I said, this can overthink. It can get very stressed out in the world of thinking. And
Yeah, this is like very flat.
yeah.
Like in Russian, we use this word like when you don't have inside your brain, it's like this. So this appears like, my brain has heard.
My-
So
It doesn't
that's
bother me,
exactly how
thankfully.
I feel. That's exactly how I feel sometimes. It's
Mm.
very flat.
Uh-huh. Mm.
There is nothing. This is why I could follow some kinds of meditations of Osho and like some other stuff because there is no mind. I can be no mind. This is very natural for
Yes,
me.
and in regard to that, the whole thing about meditating,
Yeah, please.
and everybody should meditate. So this, I suspect that the open ajna head or undefined has a better time with that
Of
than
course.
than this one. I
Because you
mean,
will observe your mind. What will happen with you? You will observe your
uh-huh. And,
patterns.
and for me, it's focus. Like when I was still sick. And I was working with a medical intuitive. She asked me about meditating, and it was like, no. I said, but I do like to sit in my backyard and watch the trees dart in and out of the bushes. She said, that's meditating. So then I went, oh, once I learned human design, it's like, well, it gives me something to focus on so I can be. But I hear you. You're also saying I could start, yes, I can observe the line. And usually when I feel that, because I don't get headaches per se, but I can feel
The pressure.
pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of shaped like this, like literally like
Mm-hmm.
that. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
put those on like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because I'm working with an embodiment, whatever, healer at times, and when I remember, I'll just really put my attention there. Like I put my mind's attention there, and then that's how it can relax, or I bring it into the body. Because one of the
Mm-hmm.
times that we had a session, there was a lot going on here, and there was a lot going on in my jaw. And then she asked me to look in my body, and I realized it was somehow as a manifestation of something going on in my body.
Wow.
But yeah, good luck not having it be a busy mind.
I mean, mind is problem for those who have it fixed and for those who have it open. I am, I am just so different now than I used to be
Uh-huh.
before in terms of mind. So when I started my experiment with human design, this was very helpful to know that open mind is like a washing machine that cannot
Hmm.
stop. So if during the day there were pieces, they can be visions, they can be words, whatever mental kaleidoscope, whatever, then it keeps stirring.
Hmm. Hmm.
I definitely don't struggle with this anymore, and I don't know at which point it changed, but I remember becoming aware of this washing machine that doesn't stop. And um, I did certain things like I didn't watch certain videos before going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I noticed my ways of being conditioned, like how this stuff gets in
Yes.
there. So
Yeah.
sometimes I can do nothing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I saw something during the day that really gave a powerful imprint, and I will have to tolerate until it fades away.
Yep.
But somehow, as Ra said, exactly how he describes it, yeah, this whole thing, how we deal with the mind is you go on the road and you see those signs like big board as you're driving. So at first, when you're driving, all you can see is those big boards and
Mm.
your attention is there, all you can see. But as you become more yourself and the energy settles in the body, you drive, you're aware that there are some signs on the road, but they are not in your face
Right.
anymore. You're enjoying the ride, or you can see all other things, so they don't disturb your vision. They are
Yes.
not in your face. So this, yeah, this definitely happened.
Yeah.
I am so I am so cool now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I remember my first year and the mind buggered everything out of me when I was starting to just follow my response. In my open mind, definitely was very conditioned by
Mm. Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things, and it was very difficult to deal with it when it was literally. I don't know if you have it. Is it fixed ajna? But this thought like you have to call somebody, or you think you have to call, and you just like call. It just doesn't go away. And sometimes you do that action just because you want it to shut up.
Oh, huh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean that's more that to me is the splenic intuition is time to call somebody. But I also wanted to share something else because I'm doing it now and I forgot that I also have learned this, talking about having my energy kind of sitting here versus in my body when I actually bring my attention to my body, this gets quiet really fast. Like I have learned that really quite recently, and it's more about, in a way, disappearing my body. And then we don't, I did a video a few months ago about can anyway, but it's like it's hard the thinking really does stop really fast, which is awesome because then as I'm listening to you, the shift even in my experience of listening is I'm taking you in through my body rather than this little
Mhm.
fun show.
Absolutely. I do feel this when the person talks to me, I do feel it in my body, whether I experience it as a truth or how I respond to it. I notice that I'm not even listening sometimes. I can't listen to
Mhm.
because my body has already reacted somehow to this person. So true.
Yeah. Is there anything else on this or are we done? I don't know.
Yeah,
Suddenly I have nothing, so I'm asking.
quick feedback on how that's absolutely that's absolutely the tool to shift from the mind to the body. And as you say it with the fixed ajna, and I say it with
Mhm.
the open ajna, because
Uh-huh.
my way to escape is to escape from that washing machine. And before human design, I studied yoga, and I studied yoga in India.
Mhm.
And it's where they trained me how I go back to my body, how I feel my body. And this was the first time when I felt that I have a relief from that suffering, and the first realization that the suffering was mental, and that when I am in my form and I do feel my form, that there is no
Uh-huh. Yep.
suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I mean it's a cool thing. It happens spontaneously the first time when I was about to leave Sedona, but I was sitting in the backyard of this place where I got a room to be able to go back periodically. And I remember just looking at the trees, and suddenly the shift of my awareness. was into my body and their body. Like it was just, yeah, we're all it. I can feel it now. It's a very weird thing, but we're all just here. And I don't do that a lot. I have to remember to do that. It's not like just my way of being. And I guess the other thing I'll say is, I recognize that this does have the ability to structure. So I have created a lot of ebooks in response to people's challenges to help them structure things. So that's one of the ways it's been used. And that, and when I'm creating that stuff, I mean, I realize I did this whole thing between 2008 and 2010. It was ultimately I called it Grow Up Your Business, but it was these variety of little ebooks to help entrepreneurs be themselves and understand how to work. I don't know. But when I first looked back a couple of years ago, I'm like, who did that? Like, who the fuck did that? Because that's, but when I'm in it, I'm just in it.
So cool. I think we can talk a little bit more about the predispositions of a fixed ajna and the way you experience it and the way I see the work of the fixed ajna and for which reasons I invite people with the fixed
Mhm.
ajna and in my life in order to see how to structure, how to organize. So I think this is a good conversation to carry on, but I think this is how we finished it. We shift
Okay.
from the mind to the body. It is like perfect.
Okay, cool. So we don't have a send off. Should we just say good for now?
Good for now.
Good for
Exactly.
now.
Good for now.